Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force them air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes fun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes fun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV, my personal favorite little internet radio station. And I'm your host for the next 2 hours. It is, what is today anyways? The 2nd? Yes, it is, the 2nd of July. Yesterday was Canada Day, and there was flags all over my little town. There's all kinds of people wandering around the streets, going up to the local parade, all dressed in red, which is the color of the Marxists. And I don't know that anyone I saw on the street I could have possibly had an intelligent conversation with, so I didn't bother. It really was disturbing to watch these people walking up the street. Dressed in the red with their Canadian emblems on their shirts and that, dragging their little kids. And I felt bad for the kids because I thought the parents are dragging the kids don't have a clue, which means the kids can't have a clue. It's a very dangerous situation when you have really just a bunch of mutton heads going through what they think is life and not realizing what they're actually involved in, but hopefully eventually they'll come around. Jules, who started this station or this network and has run it ever since, is having some medical problems, and I'm not sure what the word is right now. So if there's anybody out there that has had an update on Jules' condition, if you could be so kind as to post it in the chat, because I hope and I pray that she's doing okay. I just saw something a couple of days ago, and I'm just quite concerned about her health right at the minute. So if anybody has any updates to that effect, please put them in the chat or somewhere, or that I can get a hold of it. Anyways, yesterday was our Canada Day, and here's a headline on the Toronto Star with a little kid with horns on her head, which kind of freaks me out. I'm not sure why this kid. It looks like horns on her head, which kind of freaks me out. This is Canada. This is home, it says. Tens of thousands of people, brave downpours, and massive security lines to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday, which it isn't really, but they just arbitrarily made it that. And so I guess we're going to celebrate it, or we did. I didn't. But here's a little kid, and it looks like horns on her head, and I don't know why that picture is there. It's kind of odd to me.
No, they're flags.
What?
They're flags.
That's a flag?
Yeah.
And that's a flag?
Yeah, they're just.
Well, they look like horns to me.
Oh.
Flags that look like horns. But you have all these people, and I still seem to have a bug in this computer. I keep getting whacked with redirects. Anyways, I look at this picture. I have a piss off. Excuse my language. I am getting hammered here with redirects for some oddball reason. Okay, but when I look at this picture, this is Canadians celebrating Canada. And the blonde old Canada. Look at the crowd. Of Tinkerbell Trudeau. I can't shut this thing down. Anyways, I don't know that. Not like it. I'm gonna put this in here. Shut up. Shut down. We're celebrating our 150. We're celebrating our 150th birthday, says Trudeau, but it really goes back farther than that. It goes back thousands years. Um, this is a loony boy. And there's Prince Charles, another internationalist, another pedophile, another piece of work. And I'm gone now. What the hell's going on? Gone. Where'd I go? Okay, I shut it down because I just got a note that I lost the connection to UCY. So hopefully we're back live now. Hopefully. Apparently I'm back. Oh, darn. Oh, darn. Anyway, so we're celebrating Canada Day with an idiot, Tinkerbell Trudeau, who is celebrating our 150th birthday, and then he tells everybody that we're actually thousands of years old. Well, why aren't we celebrating thousands of years' birthday? I mean, this is ludicrous. And then bring in Bono, and then bring in Prince Charles, and the people think they're celebrating Canada. Well, they are celebrating Canada. They're celebrating the corporation that's held you in slavery ever since the day you were born. I don't know why anybody would want to celebrate their slavery. I have no idea why they would want to celebrate slavery. I know I certainly don't. And I'm just going to throw this in here because what disturbs me the most is it was Europeans that founded this nation. And then I know the indigenous are going to say, hold the phone, stupid. We're already here. I get that. Okay. But we were brought in here. Now, the original people that came here got along just fine with the indigenous people, had no problem with them. The indigenous people actually helped those who came here to survive, taught them how to live on the land. And I much appreciate that. Okay, but let's not be fooled here. It was not the people that came here from the European countries trying to get away from under the boot of tyranny in the countries they lived in. Okay, those people that came here thought they were being given a chance to start a new life. They were used in order to people the lands in order that the corporation could claim it. So they were used. And it was not the settlers that came here and destroyed the indigenous society. It was the same ones that sent the Europeans here are the ones that destroyed the indigenous society, and now they're destroying the so-called white society or the European society. So we're all suffering from the same thing. We're all being beat up by the same group. And we need to bring ourselves together and erase this nonsense from our lands. Now, I'm not going to read this, I don't think. We don't aspire to be a melting pot. We know true strength and resilience flows through Canadian diversity, Trudeau says. We don't care where you come from or what religion you practice or whom you love. You are all welcome in Canada, he said to cheers and applause. And I'm getting another redirect here. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Making it tough on me to read anything today, even. For many Indigenous people, Canada's 150 is more of a painful reminder than a cause to celebrate, no doubt. This was highlighted by activists who this week are holding what they called a reoccupation by erecting a teepee near the main stage to draw attention to the fact Parliament Hill sits on Algonquin territory that is still unceded. Our past is far from perfect, Trudeau acknowledged. For centuries, Indigenous people have been victims of oppression from the time when the first explorers celebrated their discovery of the New World. As a society, we must therefore acknowledge past mistakes, accept our responsibility, and take action to ensure that each and every Canadian has a bright future. What a load of shit. This is the same load of shit that's been spewed basically by every prime minister that's ever been at the head of this country. So I said this last night, Trudeau rhymes off all the territories and provinces, and he forgets to mention Alberta. Prince Charles, the inbred little nutcase with the big ears from England, said that others look to Canada as an example of fairness and inclusion, of always striving to be better. Another load of crap. Around the world, Canada is recognized as a champion of human rights, as a peacekeeper, as a responsible steward of the environment, a natural resource and a powerful, consistent example of diversity, he said. Well, another load of crap. He singled out Canada's efforts at reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, saying it demonstrated a remarkable determination to forge an even better society. This society is crumbling before people's eyes, and yet people are cheering when these lunatics speak. Thousands gave of themselves. Oh, this is Vimy Ridge. I don't even want to go there. This one-time lumber town, chosen as the capital by Queen Victoria a decade before Confederation, was the center of celebrations that unfolded nationwide on Saturday. Canadians partied from Toronto, Nathan Phillips Square, to the plains of Abraham and Quebec City, Saskatoon's Diefenbaker Park, and Signal Hill and St. John. Canadian Armed Forces personnel deployed abroad, and locales such as Kuwait, Latvia marked the day with ball hockey games, barbecues, and Tim Hortons coffee, who Tim Hortons promotes depopulation. So when you're eating their food and drinking their coffee, just remember that. I did a video some years ago when I saw an Earth Day or Earth Hour sign pasted on my local Tim Hortons, and I went and checked out Tim Hortons and called their office or head office and explained to them I wouldn't be their customer anymore because they were promoting depopulation by what they had, some of the links they had in their back end, in their environmental portion of their page, and they tried to deny it, and they said they didn't promote this stuff. And I said, well, the links didn't get there by themselves. You put the links there, and you're pushing phony global warming. You're pushing, which is global warming is part of the depopulation program. And they had people up there who I know personally who are involved in, they're patrons of the what's it called, the population growth or whatever, optimum population. Which says that, or which did say, they've changed their website out since I was banging at them a few years ago. They've taken a lot of that stuff down, but they put a number on America of a optimum population for America at 100 million. America right now is, I think, around 320 or something. So that means about 220, you got to hit the road. And I now see Tim Hortons has infiltrated itself into America as well through whatever, Wendy's or Burger King or whatever. So everything that's being spoken here off of this stage is a load of crap. And that's unfortunate. But that's just the way it is. So I don't see very many white people here. But that's not who we're promoting, is it? We're promoting the removal of the white people. So I see black people, I see Asian people. I don't see any burqas in this particular picture. Oh, there's that guy back there in the back looks like a Muslim. But this is your Canada, folks. It's not the Canada that your forefathers attempted to build. It is the Canada being built by the international globalists. And we are a member state of the UN, which is writing all the international law, which means we are under international law. We do not have law here. We've never really had law here. We got a lot of fraud here. We have a lot of deception here. We have a lot of liars here. But as far as this being a nation formed by the people, it's not what people think they're celebrating at all. I wish they'd get their act together someday. They will. because they ain't going to have a choice. They're not going to have a choice. Now, there's another story here that I want to touch on, which is, I saw this morning. I'm not even sure if I like coffee that much, but I go for a walk and I just look at the headlines of some of the newspapers that are there. And one of the, we're in trouble when, I'm used to police dogs being German Shepherds, and I used to have German Shepherds. I'm not a cop, but I like the dog. They train up real good, and they're very dedicated and highly intelligent. Much more so than what's running the country now. And this story here, I haven't read it yet, but I just see this picture here, and it kind of makes me giggle. Toronto police looking for stolen service dog. Okay, it's not a police dog. Is it? I hope not. Okay, I thought this had something to do with the police, but this is a service dog. I don't know what kind of a service dog it is. It doesn't really say. But this is our police at work. Toronto police looking for stolen service dog named Princess. Princess is a teacup Chihuahua, was unclipped from her harness and taken early Sunday morning, police say. It's on the front page of the biggest newspaper in the country. How in the hell does this get on the front page of the biggest newspaper in the country on July the 2nd? Toronto police are asking for the public's help in locating a service dog they believe was stolen. Pit bulls are smarter than shepherds? I don't think so, my friend. If they are, I don't know. We'll phone up Alex Trebek and put him on Trebek's show, and we'll get a bunch of dogs, and Alex can ask some questions for 800 or whatever. Oh, okay, I get it. But, maybe this is a commercial for teacup Chihuahuas. I don't know. Police responded to a call for a stolen dog at 2 a.m. Sunday in the area of Bloor Street West and Ossington Avenue. Princess is a 6-year-old teacup Chihuahua, was secured to a railing by her 28-year-old owner before she entered a fast food restaurant, police say. Police alleged that Princess was unclipped from the harness and taken. The dog is described at 6 pounds with medium brown hair and blonde stripes. She was wearing a pinky body harness. Anyone with information on Princess's whereabouts is asked to contact police and or Crime Stoppers. In April, a Pomeranian Shih Tzu named Kobe was tied outside a fast food restaurant when a man took it away. The dog was found tied to a post a few blocks from the restaurant 4 days later. Now, I have no idea how this freaking story ended up in any newspaper, let alone the front page of Canada's largest newspaper. It says it's a service dog. And it doesn't say anything in here about what service the dog was providing. But in April, the Shih Tzu, Pomeranian Shih Tzu, was tied outside a fast food restaurant when a man took it away. That's an amazing story. You're in Canada now, folks. Land of the loonies. Now, the story that I wanted to talk about, this Princess story was beside this other story. Maybe they're connected. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe they put that story to connect it to the social justice story that's beside it. Maybe that's what it's there for. I have no idea. But this is from 9:23 a.m. this morning, and this is a spooky story, which I haven't read, but I got a good idea what it's going to say. As the law and society evolve, Canadian judges go back to school. High-profile court cases have put focus on judicial training on issues such as sex assault and domestic violence. The woman in the witness box is defiant and clear as she recounts a litany of abuse to the court, including being sex trafficked, raped, and held against her will. She is an actress. So is the Crown, the judge, and the accused men. One played by the son of one of the real judges who helped make this video. The script is taken verbatim from transcripts of a real case and was made to educate judges about human trafficking, domestic violence, and why a victim may not leave an abusive partner, may not call the police, and may have an emotional connection to their abuser. The goal was to learn to address these issues institutionally as judges, individually as judges, and individually as people. Alberta Court of Appeal Justice Sheila Martin told a group of about 45 judges in a conference room in downtown Toronto. The Star was given access to the conference as debates continue around what education judges receive about issues such as gender-based violence, how effective it is, and whether education in sexual assault law should be mandatory. Question sparked by the inquiry into Alberta Judge Robin Camp, who infamously asked a sexual assault complainant why she just didn't keep her knees together, and by a number of other high-profile cases, including most recently in Alberta, Judge's shocking decision to jail an Indigenous sexual assault complainant for the duration of her testimony at a preliminary hearing. At the conference, after watching 2 segments of the video, the group was invited to write down one word that describes how they feel about what they saw. The response, read later by Martin, included horror, sadness, disillusionment, and helplessness. During a break, the judges submitted questions to a panel moderated by Martin, and including fellow Alberta Council Court of Appeal Justice Sheila Grekel, U.S. Judge Ann Goldstein, from the International Association of Women Judges, and Nicole Barrett, an expert on law and human trafficking from the Marxist University of British Columbia. The first question, how common is the women's explanation of why she did not leave? Barrett said the story is all too familiar. She is isolated from others. She lacks financial independence. She's broken self-esteem. She has a fear of escalated violence. She has a fear of retaliation, that they will tell her family a psychological bond with her abuser. She said once you start listening the reasons she doesn't leave it, it becomes fairly overwhelming. This particular complaint is somewhat of an outliner because of the clarity of the detail of her memory, she noted. The next question struck at the heart of why judges were in that room on Thursday morning. Until this job in judicial education, the question began, I had no way to be aware this happens to ordinary folk. Them, the judges, of course, not being ordinary folk. In the wake of the Camp inquiry and other high-profile cases, Ontario made it mandatory for new judges to be trained in sexual assault law. The Canadian Judicial Council, which oversees judicial education, made training for new judges officially mandatory in March. A fast-track federal bill proposed by former Conservative Rona Ambrose is now before the Senate. It would require lawyers applying to be judges to have completed sexual assault law and social context education. It would also require the Canadian Judicial Council to report annually on what sexual assault-related education they provide, and how many judges take part, and how many judges preside over sexual assault cases, but have not taken such a seminar. Canadian courts are failing to send the message that sexual assault and all forms of violence against women are unacceptable, said Lise Martin, Executive Director of Women's Shelters Canada, in her submission to the Status of Women Committee in support of the mandatory and ongoing education for judges in gender-based violence and the impact of trauma. Now, gender-based violence, here they're talking specifically about women, but they're also using the term gender-based violence. Okay, so most of the people will read this and think they're talking about abuse of women. They're talking about gender-based violence. Okay, and violence can be physical violence, it can be mental violence, it can be verbal violence. So this is about opening the door to the pronoun bullshit, if you will. Because as soon as you put the word gender in there now, you're talking about 72 different genders or something now. You're not just talking about women, okay? And this is not about women, okay? If it was about women, this would not be coming up now. It would have been dealt with many, many decades ago. This is like the same kind of bullshit about we care about the indigenous people, okay? They don't. But they use it constantly in order to move crap forward. And from what I'm seeing here, this is exactly what this is about. In an interview, Superior Court Justice Patricia Hennessy, who is based in Sudbury and is currently working on judicial education for Indigenous issues, referred to the human trafficking case discussed earlier. The first step is to recognize that is not our reality, she said, of the women involved. Does it make sense that she would not have left? Does that make sense? That is what the defense would like us to conclude. It makes no sense that she would not have left, but we don't know her reality. And as they said, judges do need an ongoing education in various areas of law and in changing social context. And that the training courses being developed by the National Judicial Institute and taught courts. These sentences don't even make sense. Courts across the country are crucial. The criminal laws have changed as societies have changed, Justin Martin said, and it is important for judges to understand how and why those changes happen. Training for judges has shifted away from talking heads and instead is focused on problem solving and group work, she said. That includes videos and expert analysis. There's that expert word. As in Thursday seminar and experimental learning, such as spending time with indigenous communities. And it's the most effective thing we've ever seen, Martin said. Can it solve all the issues? No, it can't. The goal of the social context education specifically cited in the federal bill is to help judges understand diverse, there's that word, life situations of people that we serve, said Justice Adele Kent, who has the National Judicial Institute. Judges have to understand the people they are judging. The training examines race, disability, region, poverty, mental illness, and gender-based violences and designed like the human trafficking seminar with input from academics and community groups, she said, addressing criticism that the training doesn't incorporate the experience of those impacted. I think we all carry with us a certain amount of prejudice or stereotype typical thinking, Grekel said. We all do, and it's defined by race and gender and class. Economic class is a big factor. So we come with that baggage, and that is obviously going to weigh in our thinking about things. So I think what judicial education is about is disabusing our judges of predispositions to thinking in certain ways and broadening the mind to accept there are no predetermined answers to questions. Whoa. She said it has been very useful for judges to have frank and open discussions about their prejudice and have educators explain why it's a myth or stereotype. Then the question is, when training is given at optional conferences like this one, are we preaching to the converted, said Toronto Superior Court Judge Julie Thornton, the organizer of this conference. How come it is that I think so far, all but one of the judges I mentioned in this story is a woman. Just wondering. Ongoing training for judges in specific areas is not mandatory by law, but she said the education programs organized at each court twice a year are effectively mandatory, and those education courses are constantly improving. At the end of the day, I think we're talking about decency and sensitivity to people and situations, and sometimes it's difficult to train people to be decent and to be sensitive to others, she said. We try. Now, this is exactly the problem. Well, it's one of the problems, but first of all, judicial here is legal, it's not law. Secondly here, and probably most importantly, is that what they bring forward here is that these judges have prejudices. These judges have mental problems, okay? Because the Minister of Health for Canada, Jane, what was her last name? Stated at a TEDx meeting that we are all mentally ill. Well, if we're all mentally ill, that means the judges are mentally ill. That means the police are mentally ill. That means that the prosecutors are mentally ill. That means the court clerks are mentally ill, because according to the Minister of Health, we're all mentally ill. And what we've had here in this so-called judicial system, which is not, it's not a law system, it's a legal system, is that, yeah, these judges have prejudices. Yes, these judges have drinking problems. Yes, these judges have drug problems. Yes, these judges have mental problems. So when you go to court, it's a crapshoot. Because you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what their mental state is. You don't know what their prejudices are. You don't know if the judge's spouse got pissed off last night and said, "You're an asshole, I'm out of here." And then you're standing in front of that judge the next morning. Okay? This is not a justice system. Okay? It's most definitely not a system of law. A system of law requires a jury. Let no man judge and let no man judge you, right? And yet we allow men and women judges to judge us. We allow that because we're stupid. And these lunatics now are pushing the social justice program. They're being taught to be social justice warriors, these judges. So now if you go up in front of a judge and you look crooked at somebody anybody, regardless of what their religion, their gender alignment is or whatever, these judges are now being trained to be social justice warriors. In other words, if you don't play by the social movement of the day, you are going to get hammered. That's what this is all about. At the conference in Toronto, skepticism was expressed by judges about how effective sexual assault law training for applicants would be if it were just offered online to preserve anonymity. A better suggestion, they said, is requiring applicants to commit to ongoing judicial education. One judge questioned why sexual assault education is being singled out as compulsory when training in other areas such as Indigenous law may be just as important. There is an acknowledgement that there is a need for more diversity on the bench. Now, this really gets cookie here, right? Because more diversity on the bench. So, who's going to be judging you? A drag queen? A transgender? Okay? This is serious bad stuff. Very seriously bad stuff. They said more also needs to be done across the board to tackle sexual assault, from the police and lawyers to alternative models from criminal justice system. In the courtroom, we can start from the very basics, Kent said, to be polite to people, to make people feel comfortable, to make people feel they are valued, even if it ends up in an acquittal. Well, they are valued. People are valued. People have a value on them. You are the surety for the debt. Okay? You get paid, the judges and the prosecutors and everything get paid when you come to court. So now we should be polite to people to make sure people feel comfortable, to make people feel they are valued even if it ends up in an acquittal. Thornton said it can be helpful to judges to hear expert evidence in certain cases in order for them to have something to rely on when assessing credibility. Well, if you're depending on expert evidence to make your judgment, then you ought not be sitting on the bench. Period. Martin, too, stressed the importance of social science research. Judges should not rely on untested assumptions about human behavior, she said. There is no way for people who have been traumatized to react. Victims of sexual assault do not have to be screened or resisted to be credible. But she said attitudes may not have changed with the law. We can work on those kinds of underlying assumptions that may undercut credibility in a manner that isn't fair and equal, she said. A very disturbing piece. Where is what I'm looking for here? I want to... But this is all international crap again. This is all the social sciences crap. This is about bringing international law in. We have to let me see here. What is the International Association of Women Judges? We'll take a quick boo and see if we can track that down. See what it's got to say for itself. Let's see, International Canadian Chapter, the Asian Pacific Regional Conference of International Association. The International Association of Women Judges. Let's see what we got here. That's 2011. International. Okay, so this is UN crap because it says here the International Association of Women Judges is a non-profit, non-governmental organization of more than 4,000 members at all judicial levels in more than 102 nations since forming in 1991. Has united women judges from diverse legal judicial systems who share a commitment to equal justice and the rule of law. So we have the Bar Council. Let's see, we got Arab Lawyers Union, the American Bar Association, Association, I don't know what that one is, Bar Association of India, Bar Council Malaysia, Bar Council of England and Wales, Bar Council of Ireland, Canadian Bar Association, Center for Court Innovation, Commonwealth Lawyers, Danish, and so on. And there's a big long list of these clowns. So I'm going to throw this in the chat, which is much more important than the story that was in the Toronto paper. But this is where people should be reading, right? This is where they should be reading. You don't need to be reading. If I get one more redirect, I'm going to chuck this computer. Anyways, this is the kind of stuff people should be reading. You know, you read a story, you know, you see something you're not familiar with in there, or the name of an expert. They didn't name any experts in that story, but so that you are reading what you need to be reading. Just use whatever media you're reading to go find something that you can, you know, that gets you a lot deeper. Because reading paper or listening to media ain't going to teach you nothing, right? It just is not going to teach you a damn thing. And if we're going to take back our nations, okay, so now we have this story in the Toronto paper about sexual assault and gender violence. So we end up at the International Legal Assistance Consortium. That's what this is. And we have overview of the UNIFEM Gender Justice Initiative, which is part of the International Legal Assistance Consortium. Gender Justice Initiative by Nina Lahoud, presented at the session on exploring ILAC, thematic issues at the 2016 annual general meeting on May 20th in Solana, Sweden. So we go and we punch in, if I can get this. Well, let's go here then right away. If it'll open. Okay, so there's a big story here, but I want to see who this is. Copy is what I really want to see, because this is one that I haven't looked at before, which is the UNIFEM, which you know it's UN, right? And this is the, let's see, what do we got here? Home. Let's see. Let's try this one here. See if this gets us where we. UN Women. And this is, you know, people are looking at stuff, they say, well, look what's happening in our country. This isn't happening in your country. It's happening somewhere else and being infused into your country. Right? That's the deal. let me back this up here. Go down here. There we go. There's the home of the UNIFEM. Who answers to women? So this is the group that we have Justice, MDGs. Where is this site is not coming up all the way for some oddball reason. There we go. Let's try this one. See if I can get this page to work. Huh. That's not getting me where I want to get to. Regardless, this is what these international justices, women justices, they're an NGO of they're an NGO body or group pushing I'm going to just throw this in the chat because I'm having computer problems here right now. But the story is focused on, gender-based assault or violence in Canada. But the message isn't coming from here. Okay, this is not something that's exclusive to here that we're trying to fix here. Okay, this is a problem that was created or was allowed to fester until they had a problem that needed to be fixed, and then the internationals and these judges who are an NGO body and the job of the NGOs is to work from the bottom, right? And get a reaction, and then it's the old vice, and then the government says, "Oh, this is what people wanted," and but it's all coming out of the international law schools and the international law bodies, and being foisted upon the people in whatever country you're in without your knowledge. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a politician, but my understanding is that no elected official has the authority to make deals that affect the social fabric of your nation or the laws of your nation and binds you to a law that was created outside your nation, I don't believe any politician or judge or anybody else has that capacity to do that. That is treason. Straight out treason. Then we got to deal with stuff like that. Because these are our nations. This is not a sidebar to internationals. This is our home. And when you have someone that is got nothing to do with your home, making the rules that you will abide by in your home without your knowledge, well, what's that going to do? It's going to wreck your home, isn't it? Because now you don't live in your home by your rules, you live in your home by somebody else's rules. And that will never, ever work out well for anybody. Not now, not never. So that's basically, I hate this stuff. I really hate this stuff. You know, the International Association of Women Judges, member organizations, news, publications, our work, this is all set up as per normal UN situation, and they're implementing now we got all this we've got all this stuff going on, you know, in Syria, and bringing all these Syrians to the West. But here we have Syrian legal professionals trained on UN mechanisms for building bridges for Syrian legal professionals, proud to contribute to the 2017 Stockholm Forum on Peace and Development. Public seminar in Japan addresses a pivotal challenge, building resilient and responsive justice institutions in fragile and conflict-affected countries. Congratulating members on a successful 2017 annual general meeting. A blueprint for building criminal justice institutions in the Central African Republic. Okay, these are the very people that I'm reading about in the Toronto Star. Okay, it's about international law. It's about international law. It's about the death of your nation state. So people read this stuff in the Toronto paper or whatever other paper you're reading it. Oh, this is a really good idea. The judges should take courses and they should be more clued into diversity. And yeah, they really need to take these courses, thinking that this is something that got cooked up here at home. It didn't get cooked up. Nothing gets cooked up at home. This is all outside nonsense. Mary Robinson receives a Stockholm Human Rights Award. Mary Robinson, a former president of Ireland and United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, received the 2016 Stockholm Human Rights Award, recognizing her outstanding contributions to the rule of law and human rights. Well, the rule of law is the legal system, and so this is man. These are the rules made up by men and women, which can be only adhered to humans. And that goes right back to God gave man dominion over all the animals and everything else. So man makes up a new system of law they call the rule of law, legal system, legalese, which is deception, and they reconfigure you from a man/woman to an animal. Then they're giving each other awards, these satanic slobs. The Stockholm Human Rights Award is given annually by ALAC, the Swedish Bar Association, and International Bar Association, in recognition of those advancing international justice and strengthening respect for human/animal rights. Excuse me. President Robinson, founder of the Mary Robinson Foundation, Climate Justice, dedicated the award to all those who struggle for human rights and encouraged that a commitment to human rights must be stronger in difficult times. This is really sad crap. No ifs, ands, or buts. You don't read this stuff in your local papers. You don't hear this stuff on your local 6 o'clock news. You don't even know this stuff exists. So, where else? Where did she go from here? President Robinson also commented on the current challenges for human rights and climate justice. Nationalism is opposed. Nationalism is opposed to the kind of solidarity we need to tackle the problems of our world, she said. And I love that. Every time I hear our world, it brings me back to George Hunt. In our hands, he said in his early videos back in the early 90s, when he was still shooting with video, with tape video, a VHS. And, our world. The world is in our hands. And George goes, whose hands? Whose hands is the world in? Certainly not our hands, right? These idiot hands. So nationalism is opposed to the kind of solidarity we need to tackle the problems of our world, she said. The most urgent problem is the existent threat of climate change. The 2016 Stockholm Human Rights Laureate defined herself as a prisoner of hope and reminded the audience of their crucial role in advocating for human rights and global justice for the disempowered and marginalized around the world. So once again, these clowns at the UN are there for peace and justice. Since the formation of the UN, there has been no peace, there has been no justice, and there never will be any peace or any justice as long as the UN and the multitude, the thousands and thousands of NGOs and tax-exempt foundations and so on and so forth exist. These do-gooders are the opposite of what they present themselves as. There is nothing good about these people. Now we have the 2016 Stockholm Human Rights Award. Oh God. Let's see, founders, international legal assistance. More websites, those are in Swedish, I can't read them. I don't know who's at this award ceremony in 2016. the award ceremony. We have a bunch of, these are people nobody ever hears of, right? And they're spread around the world. And they're all working for the same thing, which is the demise of your nation, and not just the demise of your nation, but the demise of you, your family, your futures, and so on and so forth. But anyways, this is the website hooked up to the, I may have already put this in the chat, but I'll stick it back in again. Follow it around, and this is just the women's justice. So, you know, we have, you have a list there of, I already put that in. You have a list there of all the different bar associations, including the International Bar Association, which you need to look into so that you get a better idea of what you're dealing with here. You have the International Association of Court Administration. You have the International Association of Prosecutors, the International Association of Women Judges, the International Bar Association, the International Bridges to Justice, the International Commission on Jurists, the International Criminal Defense Attorneys Association, the International Foundation of Independence of Lawyers and Judges, the International Human Rights Law Institute, the International Judicial Academy, the International Senior Lawyers Project, and all these other national bar associations, but they're all, and you have the International Advocates Law, Public International Law, and this is what is controlling your nations. And God forbid you should be a nationalist, because nationalism goes totally against the grain of internationalism. So if you're a nationalist, then you're obviously opposed to international rule. And if you're opposed to international rule, then you're opposed to the Declaration of International Human Rights, which makes you, I suppose, in their thinking process, a terrorist. Because you don't wish to be an international slave. And they want you to be an international slave. They demand that you be an international slave. And they demand that you hand over control of all your resources, so that they can slam some legalese upon it so that you can't get near your national resources. And from there, they will give you what they describe as adequate. Not what you describe as adequate, but what they describe as adequate. Let me see if we can come up with something here that is worth looking at. The International Judicial Academy. Who are they? The International Judicial Academy is a non-profit educational institution chartered in the District of Columbia. It was established in 1988 and opened for business on October 1999. So this may be interesting to pretty much anybody. The IJA is a sponsor of the 3rd Annual International Conference on Legislative Drafting and Law Reform, and this is all about law reform. Okay, the law is going from law, which is do no harm, to rule of law, which is social justice law, which is basically guillotine law. Do as you're told or you're screwed. So I'm going to throw this. I'm really, I put this stuff in the chat because I'm trying to encourage people to get beyond what they see in the main media and get a whole hell of a lot deeper so that you have a better understanding of what's going on. These politicians and that you see belly aching with each other in the media and that has no bearing on anything. It's just noise to keep your little brains busy. Keep you chatting amongst yourselves about, oh, did you hear what so-and-so said or so-and-so did or yada, 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 yada. It's all the puppet show, people. Right? You got to get back in behind the main curtain and see what the hell's going on in the background, because that's where you're going to find the script writers. That's where you're going to find the main players of the play that you're involved in. Right? That's where the news is. It isn't up front. That's the play. The news is in the background. And that's where you got to get to. You're going to remain ignorant of most things going on around you and just be reacting to them and not understanding where it's coming from. That's all I got to say on that. Now, I want to make one thing here I want to do right away is I think that I can grab as well off of the Toronto paper here. I think it's there. I want to make a special note, if I can find it here. Oh, they already changed the freaking headlines. I have a friend who I know is Chris / Duck. A lot of people know Duck. He does, as far as I'm concerned, some really good work, at least on my behalf. And I know on other people's behalf. And because he does such good work, and because he's a Canadian, and because he lives in Kingston, Ontario, where old Fort Henry is, to protect this nation, it appears that the city of Toronto has unveiled a special notice of his work. And they have commemorate all of Duck's good work. As well, let me put it in the chat to show you how much Ontario, Toronto, and Canada appreciate Duck's good work. And on Canada Day, what they did was they unveiled, well, you look at it, hit the link and look at it. This was unveiled specifically to show appreciation for Duck's good work. And it's a 30,000-pound duck that they unveiled in Toronto. I think it cost $250,000 to create this duck, and that shows appreciation for all the hard work that my friend has done to date, and I expect will continue to do. Are you on board, Chris?
Quack.
Ouch! That hurt me. I wasn't waiting for that one. Quack, quack. Quack.
You like that, eh? I thought that was pretty funny.
I had to put that in. I had to do that.
Well,
I don't think you really do know how much I appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah. Anyways, I sent you one before that, and you couldn't catch it because it was a picture of the CN Tower.
Yeah, I was looking at the CN Tower.
Beside it, but you had to look real close to see me.
Well, you don't have to look close in this one. I mean, this is actually did a film on you. Which is pretty cool. This is one big ass duck. It's the world's biggest duck.
I'm getting bigger.
And I don't know the story behind this thing. You know, you look at the sky in this one picture, it's total chemtrail city, right?
Yeah.
You got the CN Tower. Remember the CN Tower liquor bottles they used to make? When I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go in and you buy a bottle of rye or whatever it was in a CN Tower bottle. And how things have changed since.
Yeah.
But no, that's a big bitch of a duck, man. And why did they make it? I mean, other than to commemorate your good work, but
that's probably why. Yeah.
Is that the reason?
I think.
I
think somebody just said, you know what, we got to show appreciation. Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, but you know how hard you work, I work, and everybody else works, right? You know, if we went, I mean, who are these people that can walk into the government and say, you know what I was thinking? What? I was thinking if you give me $250,000, I could build you a 13-ton rubber duck that's 6 stories tall. Well, that's a hell of an idea. Somebody write this guy a check. Right? Like, come on. The duck, which is said to be the world's largest and which cost the province, well, the province doesn't even own it. They renting it.
Well, I got to make money.
Yeah, but you know how much they're paying rent on this thing? $120,000 to rent the duck from July till August. That's $60,000 a month to rent a rubber duck. And how many
I'm changing my moniker. I need more money.
Like, that's nuts. How do you present that? How do you present that?
Yeah.
Hey, government, come here. Look under my range coat down here. Right? I got a duck. I'll rent it to you for $60,000 a month. And they go, good idea.
I got them all. We got like 1,000 lakes here, around my area. I got one in every lake.
I don't know that duck would fit in some of them lakes, man. Like, could you imagine getting a helicopter? Well, you wouldn't be able to pick that up, could you? Could you even pick that up with a helicopter? 13 tons? I suppose, yeah, that 13 tons ain't that much. Yeah, could you just imagine picking that thing up and go up into Muskokas there and lower that duck into a small lake, right? And then the people wake up in the morning and there's like this 6-story duck staring at them. Yeah. They'll be going, now that was a party last night.
Or worse than that, you know, when you're on the back lakes in the old days, you used to get pissed drunk. Mm-hmm. And then you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go out fishing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you run into that fucking duck. Bam! Boing!
Yeah. That would be a mind blower. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't sleep that good last night. I was so damn worried about Jules.
What? You had a busy night. I know. I was there.
I had a busy night, but I was so worried about Jules, right?
I was mentioning that in the chat today, but apparently it was called like a drama queen. So I just wanted to show.
Oh, if you were a drama queen, you'd be running the country.
Yeah.
Right?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jules is why you're here and why I'm here talking to you and why all the other hosts are on this network. And if she has issues and needs support, I feel that everybody should be jumping in and showing their support. And that's not fucking drama. It's the truth. I'm showing my support for her.
Anybody that would call that drama needs a poke in the face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But I have more respect for Jules than and I've never met the lady, but I know how committed she is, and I know how much hard work she's done and is doing, and I'm just real concerned about her health, and I'm not getting any what you call good updates, and I don't know.
JJ told me that she's going for tests on Monday.
Well, where is she, in the hospital still, or home, or what's going on?
All he told me was she's getting more tests done on Monday. So I don't know if she's getting it while she's in hospital or whether they've sent her home. That I'm not clear of.
Yeah, I'd like to get a solid update of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to her a couple of times, and my respect is over the top for her and what she does and what she represents and everything else. And I don't want to see no harm come to her. There's... Anyways, that's... And I saw you tell me something that pit bulls were smarter than German shepherds.
Fucking A.
Now, where do you get off on saying something like that?
Because I've raised pit bulls my whole life.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little history, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. They were bred initially in Britain, and they were a crossbreed, and they were bred as a fighting dog, and then very intelligent Americans refined it, fine-tuned it, if you will, into the ultimate fighting dog. Okay, they're taught just to fight. That's what they were bred for, and they were not man biters. Any man biters got culled right away because that was not a characteristic that was wanted in the breed. But because of how they've refined, and my American brothers, I give you credit because you did a very beautiful job on a very beautiful dog. They refined it to the point where they became so intelligent when they were fighting, they realized, like, if they were in a situation where a dog had their leg, they would go for the ear, and then if that didn't work, and they got taken down, they'd go to the underbelly and then grab a foot. And that's where the intelligence part comes in.
Yeah, but my shepherd.
So let me go one step further with this. So what happened was now I have bred these dogs up until now. I got a schnauzer now. I didn't ask for it. Somebody gave it to me. But when I was breeding these dogs, Ontario banned pit bulls, and I believe Quebec has banned pit bulls now too as well. And here's the reason I believe why. The OPP in Ontario here started training pit bulls to defend them when they were kicking in doors, right? The Nazis.
Yeah.
Well, no, gee, I don't even know why I just said that.
Those people that weren't trained that there's a doorbell on the house.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
And what occurred was because, see, they were kicking indoors, and the German Shepherds were getting attacked by pit bulls, and the pit bulls were ripping the crap out of the German Shepherds. So the OPP said, well, geez, maybe we should just put pit bulls in the force, and they'll be our attack dogs. And that was all good and fine, because the pit bulls are very intelligent and listen very well. But the problem is their instinct kicked in when there was a dog in the house. Instead of protecting that law enforcement officer that was kicking in your door, he'd just go, oh, there's a dog, let's fight. So what the OBP, after doing a bunch of tests with this, they come to the realization that pit bulls won't defend them when it comes to other dogs, so therefore we're going to go back to using German Shepherds again, and we're going to ban pit bulls.
Well, I really think the police should be using something like a poodle or a Shih Tzu,
Yeah.
Or that little princess dog that got stolen. Because, seeing as the police are all, promoting diversity and inclusivity and LGBTQ, WXYZ, that they should have a dog that represents what they're representing. So they should have a little lap dog or something, and then maybe people, if you kick a door down and somebody says, holy shit, and reaches for a gun because your door just came down, and then they see a little lap dog, they'll probably get submissive at that point. Oh, look at the little doggy, right?
Yeah.
Because it is all psychological. But no, the one thing you can't do with a pit bull that you can do with a German Shepherd, right? I just take my German Shepherd and put a put a note on him and say, want to go to the store and get me some smokes, and put a little pouch with some cash in it, and he'll run down to the store and get you smokes and come home. Very intelligent dog. I don't know anything about pit bulls.
Pit bull, though, like, they can actually speak now.
But they can. Would you say speak?
Yeah.
They can talk now.
Oh yeah.
See, the thing that I don't know anything about pit bulls, but the only thing that concerned me about a pit bull, and that's what you said when they're bred to scrap, right, with other dogs, and then you're saying that they were called a dog that would go after a man or a kid or whatever, because they got a screw loose or they've been inbred wrong. Something like the royal family, and but my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, I don't know that you can call one of them things off, right? Once they go, it's like they lose it, and I know they have some incredible jaw strength. That's where it gets dangerous. If you can't call a dog off, then you got trouble, right? Because
professional breeders understand this, and it's taken care of before they're sold to the most extent. I mean, like any other breed. I mean, more people get bit by Doberman Pinschers and German Shepherds and Rottweilers than they do pit bulls. People don't understand this.
It depends.
They're so powerful that when they do attack, it can get dangerous real quick.
Yeah, no, they're not a big dog, but they're like Vegas, my understanding is once they clamp on, my advice to anybody that gets attacked by a dog is just take your thumb and don't
Stick
get
it in their eye.
That's right. You drive that right into their brain, man. That'll stop them. I don't give a shit what's coming at you. But people get once they get attacked, they get freaked out. It's like when they fall out of a boat, they get freaked out and drowned, right? You don't need to drown, and you don't need to get taken down by a dog. You're smarter than a dog, and you just got to find his weak spot. And to me, the weak spot on any dog is his eye. And you just take, I don't mean poke it, I mean take your thumb and drive it up to the hilt. That'll stop most anything. That's just my advice if you get attacked by a dog. It's what you got to do. No, I love dogs, right? Now, I don't know about the, any animal that's improperly trained is dangerous, right? And the problem with most dog owners is that they do not have the time nor the ability, because it takes, it's just like a kid, if you don't train a kid right coming out of the gates, you got trouble on your hands later. It's the same as a dog. You don't train that dog right coming out of the gates when it's a pup, you're going to have trouble hanging on to it later. And so as far as I'm concerned, most people shouldn't even own a dog. Most people don't have the mental capacity to deal with a dog. I could be wrong on that, but that's been my experience with people. When I had my shepherds, we got them young, and we spent so much time with them, training them. People were freaked out by how my dogs. You're walking down the street, you get to a corner, the dog would just instantly sit, right? I could tell my dog to stay somewhere and just wander away from it, and get completely out of sight and leave it there for a long time and come back and he's still sitting there. So, training is everything, and that's why we got to train our people, because our people have been mistrained, and we see what that's accomplished, right? We got a bunch of nutcases running around, just like an empty-headed dog, right? And so we need to treat our people like dogs, I guess, and train them. Anyways, according to the International Law Society, or whatever it is, that if you are a nationalist, then you're a terrorist because you're against what they're trying to accomplish, which is end of nation states. And we got to deal with that ASAP and get back to law. I sent that thing to Liza last night, right? The thing for Derek Moran. You still there? Christopher? Losing?
I'm here.
Okay. But I sent that video. Actually, I'm going to put that in the chat because it kind of threw her when she first opened up. I forgot to warn her about it because where did that thing go? Let me get the link to this. I sent her the audit committee June 27th with Derek Moran. Now, Derek, I got to get him on the show. He is from Toronto, and he goes to all, like, the police board hearings, the audit hearings, board commissions, everything, and does some brilliant stuff. But Liza last night said, listening to the clip you sent me, and he started with God bless our Queen and long live the Queen, in my mind canceled anything he's about to say, but I'm going to watch the clip, right? So I wrote her back, and it says, I think what Derek is trying to point out with the Queen remark is that we're supposed to be under common law. And that's the law of the KJV, of which Elizabeth took an oath to protect. The way it was during the time of the Divine Right of Kings, the time when Catholics, Rome was banned. All changed with King Henry. That's when the Catholics, Rome took back control. That's why the Jesuits ended up here. And so she got all that stuff after. But yeah, the remark of the Queen in that is basically to explain that we're supposed to be under common law. But Derek has done some absolutely brilliant work, but I think everybody should listen to this. In particular, I think Hal would like this. So if he's kicking around here today, I'm going to throw this particular It's a 5-minute video. So this video will open automatically when Derek is about to speak. So don't mess with it's going to open up around 17 minutes in or something. So don't mess with that. Just let it play. And he explains how it is that municipal law is slave law, and he does a lot of talking about the United States and their slave law being municipal law, and that's why it was legal to have slaves. And municipal law being Roman law, which is Roman slave law, which is municipal law, which we're all incorporated into, which makes us Roman slaves. Now, Rome did kind of fall apart there after the Reformation, and they're still pissed about that. And so they got back in control. And that's when the lawyers and that really, really took over. And we need to get back to law, natural law. And I think that video will help explain a lot about what we're actually under. Now, when I was in the court, asked one of the head of the OPP, Ontario Provincial Police, if in fact this was a common law court or a corporate court, and corporate is Roman, and he didn't even bat an eye. And this was a very high up guy. This wasn't some uniformed cop. This guy was at the top, and he just looked at me and he said, "It's all corporate." And he's absolutely correct, because the legal system is corporate, and the only justice you can get is legal justice, which is corporate. So, take a boo at that. Okay, so they're on your in the chat here. I don't know if you're in the chat or not there, Chris, but you've got a big pit bull story going here. And they're the pit fighters, like fighting roosters. Started out as a breed as rat killers, and because if they raised them in England, then lots of rats in England. But so yeah, whatever. We have. I don't want Jules to come into the chat and see any fighting. Neither do I. But man, I wish I knew she was at home or in the hospital. I guess I'll write her a note. I think I have her email or her Skype or whatever. Maybe after the show, I'll write her a note and see how she's doing. I've heard some weird stories, and I'd like to get some solid information on her condition and what the actual problem is that she's dealing with, and the prognosis of it. Because this is a lady I don't want to see anything bad happen to. She has committed herself for I don't know how many years. She was involved in Orion. I think she was involved in Oracle. Could be wrong on Oracle, but I think she was involved in Oracle, and fired up UCY. A lot of dedication in the hospital. She's in the hospital, so hopefully you still get to her. I don't know if she's hooked up to a computer in there or what. She has a laptop or what's going on, but I hope they're taking real good care of her. I did have to deal with a hospital in Florida on 3 separate occasions with 3 separate people, me being one of them. And I saw the good and I saw the bad. And but once you got by the bad, which was the money part of it, the care that I got was second to none. Once we got by the administrative bullshit, which wasn't easy, but after some discussion and some threats, they finally agreed to give me a meeting with the administrators and the lawyers and all the rest of their nonsense, the money boys. And after I had a talk with them for about an hour, they relented and told the healthcare workers to help me. And it was really sad to watch because, you know, they told me I was extraordinarily ill. They were very, very concerned about me, but they couldn't help me. And that really threw me. But once we got by the nonsense and they got to go ahead to look after me, the care was absolutely phenomenal. But what I don't understand is how you have these roadblocks to your health. You know, if a nation cannot guarantee health services to its people, then it ain't much of a nation, because there's nothing more important than your health. And if you're being stood down or screwed around or have added stress put on your lives because the lawyers and the money men are actually the roadblock to your health, and some people get proper help and some people don't get proper help, then that's a divided nation again. And I will never understand that one, right? I mean, every nation has the right to print its own money. So the health should never be a matter of money, right? I mean, anybody can write that because health is the most number one important aspect of anyone's life, and therefore it becomes the most important part of the nation, which is the people. So you can write and print all the money you want and make it non-payable, just call it grant money. We just write it. Okay, and then we don't have a problem with health anymore. When health workers are getting in the health system for money and only money, then we got a problem. When money surpasses health, we got a problem. You know, and you know, you take a comparison, and a lot of people are not going to like this comparison, but it's a reasonable comparison. You take a small country like Cuba, who has been held basically hostage forever, and look at their health workers there. Those people don't go into health for money. They go into health because they give a damn about their fellow man or woman. And that needs to be the prerequisite to be even allowed into a system to go become a health worker. If you're going to go and be educated to be a health worker, the prerequisite could be, why do you want to be a health worker? Right? And these people need to be vetted. And if it turns out that you want to be a health worker because there's money in it, then you ain't going to get to be a health worker. If health isn't just about health, then it's about something else. And if it's about something else, then we got a problem. So this idea, well, we can't afford the health, or you got to pay all this insurance, horse's ass. I mean, when I was down in the States, I was just hearing one horror story after the other. If you have insurance, you're good to go. If your insurance has lapsed, you work your whole freaking life, you get older, you get sick, or God forbid you get cancer or something, and all of a sudden, everything you worked for your entire life is gone. Now, you can either die and turn over your assets to your family, or we can try to keep you alive and we'll take all your assets. Now, you just think about the mindset of that if you're ill. Because these illnesses will come out of nowhere. You fine, boom, you're sick. You go in and you get diagnosed and you go, oh, well, this is going to be bad. So my health insurance just ran out. And yeah, if you don't have a health system that is front and center for the benefit of the men, women, and children of the nation, then you ain't got a nation. It's that freaking simple. It's that simple. Everything else people can deal with. But when they have a health emergency or something, I mean, the thought of someone being ill, and that was shown to me unequivocally when I was down in Florida. I was planning on coming home sooner than I did, and because I knew when my health insurance was going to run out, and I decided to stay a couple, 3 more weeks, and I got bit by whatever the hell bit me, and all of a sudden my legs start swelling up like a friggin' balloon. I got really high fevers. I'm getting really whacked. And I go to the hospital, and they tell me, well, your insurance has run out. And I feel myself going, right? And so they send me way down the road to Liberty City Hospital, which was like a shithole. And when I go to the desk there, I go like, how long is this going to take? Well, those people got here 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever. And people are laying all over the floors, and I'm thinking, this is inhumane, right? And when I say inhumane, I mean, because I always say human is an animal, and then what I'm seeing is animals laying around on the floor. These are not men and women. They're certainly not being treated as men and women. They're being treated as animals. So I told him, I said, well, screw this. I'm going back to the other hospital. He said, they ain't going to take you. And that's when I had to go and tell them I was calling the consulate and the media and everything else, and we're going to get this sorted out, because I asked the medical people, how sick am I? And they said, you are very, very ill. Then what's the problem? So I have to go through all this nonsense, but the other 2 gentlemen I was working with down there, or knew down there, one I was working with, but the other one I just knew. And one was from Missouri, one from Seattle. The guy from Seattle had a heart attack, and but the company he was working for, they were rebuilding a house of a guy who owned a big company. He put Jimmy and that on the health insurance, and no problemo. The other gentleman from Missouri was an independent contractor in that. Who was a farmer, did some land work, backhoes, gravel trucks, whatnot. There's no work where he was. I think it was Springfield, Missouri or somewhere. So he came down to Florida, and he got sick and ended up in the hospital. But both of those guys both of them were going down, and so they were brought to the hospital in ambulances, so they had to be cared for. But the gentleman from Missouri, when I finally found out he was in that hospital, the first words out of his mouth, and he was sick. The first thing, I walked into his room, he looked around, he motioned me over and says to me quietly, do not tell anybody I own anything, right? And I go, what are you talking about? He says, I don't have any insurance. So? Well, if they find out I own anything, they'll strip me clean. I said, what are you talking about? You're freaking sick as a dog. They will strip me clean. They will take everything I own. And I thought, how freaking bizarre is this? Totally bizarre. And if there's one thing that needs to be done to make America great again, as Trump likes to say, is you got to understand that as a man or a woman being part of that nation, you have automatic health care. because that boils down to law again, doesn't it? Okay? Do no harm. You know, treat your brothers as you wish to be treated. And that gives you instant health care. The legal system is the corporate system, which is the money system, which puts you in the slave position, which is how much can we suck out of you for every bit of your life. You know, we're going downhill quick, and one of the things that really bothered me in the States was another time I was down there, and I went in a grocery store, and I saw some woman with a big, I don't know, 5-gallon plastic, you know, a collapsible plastic container, putting money in a machine to get water. And I go, what the hell is she doing? Like, why is she buying water? And then it wasn't long after I got back home that the agenda started here, and all of a sudden all the water buckets that were on the golf course disappeared because fear, somebody could put something in the water bucket. And then all of a sudden the bottled water business kicked up here. The fountains in the parks got shut down. Okay, so the only place you can go get water if you're not at home is to buy it. Who the hell's water is it? It's our water. Why are we buying water? Because we're in the legal system, that's why. You know, I can't even get a drink of water at home because I got to pay for it. Because we got water meters now. Ludicrous. We were given dominion. They took our dominion away from us. We got to go get it back. You know, I see Hal's in the Hal is in the chat here now, and he does a lot of, I guess, river mining and that. You know, and they're crawling all over his ass and his friends' asses, right? The question is he harming anyone? Yes or no? Then go play in the river. And if you find some gold, great. Because that's your labor that went into it. I mean, I can't even go and fish without a license. And now in law, I can go fish. But in the legal system, I got to give somebody some money to go fish. Out west, where my nephews are in Alberta, they have to basically put their name into a lottery, pay a fee. They're given a choice of which lakes they'd like to fish in. They pay a fee, and then they're notified when their number comes up that they can go fish in a lake. You know, and I asked them, and I said, what the hell you put up with that shit for? Well, it's just the way it is. Well, it's bullshit. Okay? Slave number 473, we're calling you today to say that you can go fishing between Tuesday and Thursday of next week. Thanks for the fee. Have fun. Well, I can't go fishing between Tuesday and Thursday. Well, I'm sorry. That's when you're booked in here. So if you don't go fishing Tuesday to Thursday, well, we keep your fee, and you can try again. Why put up with this shit? Absolutely ludicrous. You know, it's really, really stupid on our part that we put up with this. I mean, now that we know that legal isn't law, and that the only thing that they can make liable or chargeable is what they created, and they didn't create you or I, and that we know that they attach what they created to us, okay, and made us the proxy basically for what they created, or the agent of what they created, and somehow say that because they created this and attached us to it, we're liable for something. That's right over the top stupid. I mean, it's completely illogical. But this is the way we live our lives. We are corporate accounts. And we're accountable to those who created it. In other words, they own our tails, but they don't own our tails. They tell us they own our tails because somehow magically they attached a piece of paper to our backs that says slave on it. And we labor not for ourselves, but we labor for those who created these legal entities. And that has to be, we got to get that separated somehow.
You know, Ron, I got to cut my grass today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my grass cutting license.
Did you?
Yep.
Because I saw in Arkansas or somewhere that little kid, like 12-year-old kids or whatever, want to go cut lawns. Can't cut a lawn without a frickin' a town license or a city license.
Yeah.
And the landscapers.
Are we going? We've gone full retard.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you've got landscaping companies who see a kid 12 years old or 11 or 10 or whatever, 13, 14, 15, cutting a lawn, the landscaping companies are calling the town halls or the city halls ratting on these kids trying to make a couple of bucks. Now, what does that do to this kid? Right? I mean, this is over the top.
Oh no, it's full blown full retard. I mean,
as soon as I'm done this show today, I'm going down to the river and I'm going to start gold mining. Now I know there's no gold
get a
in that
couple
river.
fish while you're there. You gotta do two things right now.
I got to do a bunch of stuff right now. I got to paint.
Yeah. No. But while you're on air, you got to remind people that Hal is on at 3:00 live.
Yeah, but Hal sent you a message too.
Well, Hal loves me and hates me at the same.
Well, this is a love-hate statement here, right? Duck, don't feed that grass to a cow for raw milk, because you're doubly bitched then, right? You don't. I know you don't have a license to cut that grass. And we know that raw milk is it's dangerous. So, and it's against the law. So, anyways, we're out of time. I think Hal is on deck.
You got two more.
What?
You've got a lawyer coming on your show in the middle of the month.
Oh, I do. So, yes, I do. I have a lawyer coming on in mid-July.
Yeah, Murray Riley, and then you've got Jason Lamont at the end of the month. And then both of them are going to be on Revolution Radio, but it'll be simulcast to UCY.TV.
Now, I'm really looking forward to talking to Jason. Now, he's a gentleman who's a medic in the Army and got the first medal of, honor or whatever?
Military Medal of Valor.
Yeah, and he went to Afghanistan thinking he was going there and he's a very moral man. He thought it was a moral duty. But once he got there and realized what the hell was going on, he got his eyes opened real wide. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a chat with Jason. Again, we're out of air. Everybody say a prayer for Jules, and let's all talk. Now we're out of time. Thank you. Show, but
selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line, lower classes, social slime, they don't matter, genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care, Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back, it's only